Greetings, fantasy fans and aspiring authors. Welcome to the Indie Fantasy Club, the channel where we explore all things fantasy, especially indie gems that deserve a spotlight. Today we're going to be talking about magic. So if you're a writer trying to craft a magic system for your story, or just curious about what makes magic systems unforgettable, you are in the right place. Today we're going to cover 5 tips for creating an impactful and memorable magic system. These are the tools you need to make your world more immersive and engaging, and it will make your magic more meaningful. So if you're ready to unlock the secrets of magical storytelling, let's get into it. Now, the first step is to establish clear rules and limitations for your magic system. Any magic system that doesn't have structure to it risks becoming way too chaotic and hard to follow for any reader. It can lead to a feeling of unearned resolutions and just a lack of tension because you know the magic is going to come in and solve everything at the end. Readers need to know what's possible with the magic and, perhaps more importantly, what's not possible. This creates a sense of clarity and ensures that magic remains a tool to enhance your story rather than break it apart. For example, consider Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. In this series, allomancy allows individuals to burn specific metals for precise abilities. Tin enhances the senses. Pewter boosts physical strength, and so on and so on. There's a bunch of different metals. But each metal has a clear function, and the whole system is governed by logical constraints, like needing a supply of metals in order to fuel these powers. If a character were to run out of metals mid-battle, they're going to face genuine danger, and you can feel that tension and anxiety as a reader. And this applies to both soft magic systems and hard magic systems. I think the only difference between the two is that with soft magic, you as the author understand the rules and limitations, whereas with hard magic, those rules and limitations are explained more in depth to the reader. And keep in mind that rules actually open the door to creative problem solving. When your characters can't just wave their hand to solve every issue, it forces them to think strategically about how to use their powers for the best possible outcome. And this approach just makes their victories feel earned and their failures feel more understandable as a reader. As you develop your magic system, you need to ask yourself, what are the boundaries? Are there resources, rituals, or inherent limitations that restrict your magic in your world? A defined framework ensures that your magic system feels grounded and consistent, and that's going to be a big benefit to your readers and your audience. Second, we need to understand the consequences and the cost of magic. What does your character pay in order to wield magic? Without consequences, magic can feel too easy and lose its dramatic weight. By introducing a cost, you add stakes and complexity to your world, and that creates tension that keeps your readers more hooked. Let's just take a look at The Witcher to understand cost when it comes to magic. Women have to sacrifice their ability to have children in order to preserve their beauty and longevity, and Geralt and other Witchers have to go through a grueling and often deadly process in order to transform into a person that can actually wield magic. Magic is governed by an exchange. In order to gain something, you have to lose something. And this drives a lot of the emotional core of the story. And oftentimes the cost of magic is more than just physical. It's moral and emotional, and it shapes the character's journey. It should be a part of the story, not just something that is used like a tool. Think about how magic cost could manifest itself in your world. Does it drain the user's energy or lifespan? Perhaps it exacts a toll on their mental health or their relationships. And those consequences could also ripple outward. Maybe using magic disrupts nature, sparks conflict, or carries a social stigma with it. Whatever it may be, the key is to make sure the cost is meaningful so that every choice to use magic feels significant. The third tip is to integrate magic as part of your world building. I like it when magic systems feel like a naturally embedded part of the world. And in many cases, the magic could actually be part of my world building criteria, but I like to have magic as its own separate thing because I think there's enough to it, especially with fantasy writing, that it deserves its own category. Now, a strong magic system should be woven seamlessly into the world's culture and politics, economy, religion, spiritual beliefs, whatever it may be. It should feel like it's a natural part of the world. Having this as part of the foundation can make your world feel richer and more immersive, which gives the magic a sense of history and purpose. Let's take a look at Earthsea by Ursula Le Guin, where the magic system is intricately tied to true names. In this world, knowing the true name of a thing gives you power over it. This idea shapes not only how magic is performed, but also how people interact with each other. Wizards spend years learning these names, and secrecy is paramount to protecting one's identity. This concept of true names influences everything from relationships to conflict resolutions, making magic a natural extension of the world. As you create your world, you need to ask yourself, how does magic influence daily life? Are there institutions that regulate it, like schools or guilds? Does it create social hierarchies, or is it accessible to everyone? Think about its impact on technology, trade, warfare, science. Magic shouldn't feel separate from the world. It should feel like a fundamental part of it, as natural as the air your characters breathe. Now, all of these tips are really important, but I think number 4 is particularly useful to keep your readers more engaged and excited about the magic system as they progress throughout the story. And that is to just leave room for discovery and growth. If your magic system isn't changing and evolving as the story goes throughout, it will feel static to the reader. It will feel dull or boring. In order to be compelling, it needs to evolve with the characters and the plot. When you leave room for discovery in your magic systems, you're just going to keep your readers more engaged and curious about the potential possibilities of what can happen in your world. Now, this can take many forms, including things like your characters uncovering hidden knowledge about your magic, learning new applications for the existing magic, or even just pushing the boundaries of what your world thinks is even possible. An author that I think does a really good job of that is Brent Weeks in his Lightbringer series. In these books, they use light as their magic. So they are able to pull in light across the color spectrum. Different colors have different abilities. Now, a lot of people can only use 1 or 2 colors, but a few special people can use a whole spectrum of different colors, which all have different abilities and skills. And Kip, who's one of the main characters, doesn't know that he has a heritage of being a magic user. So we, as the reader, get to see him learn the magic, but also we get to see him use magic in ways that the rest of the world has never really been accustomed to. And that's because he's never really been exposed to how he's supposed to use the magic. So he's able to use it in more unique and creative ways, which just feels more dynamic and interesting as a reader. Kip's understanding of magic grows as he matures, which parallels the reader's journey as they learn more about the magic. And it's this gradual expansion that keeps the world refreshing and interesting and new, and it keeps it exciting even across multiple books. So as you're crafting your magic system, just be aware of the possibilities for growth with that system. Are there lost techniques or forbidden forms of magic that they're not supposed to use, that are just waiting to be rediscovered? Can characters invent new spells or combine elements in creative and new ways? Just giving your magic system room to breathe and evolve ensures it remains dynamic and surprising, no matter how long your story runs. And again, that's how world building should be, is little by little, things should be revealed, which are new for the reader, but that build upon that foundation and just gets us more invested in the story over time. Now, the caveat to that would be to not fall into the trap of using your magic system to solve every problem that your character comes across. Or if they are going to use magic, that they have to find a way within those rules and limitations to overcome whatever challenge or conflict or obstacle that they're facing. And finally, number 5 is to connect the magic to your characters and your plot.
Well, duh. Of course it's going to be connected to the world and the characters and the plot. That's the point of having a magic system. This guy's a freaking idiot.
But bear with me, because sometimes I just feel like magic becomes more of a backdrop rather than an integrated part of the story. And I personally feel like magic should be deeply connected to the characters and the story that you're telling. In my opinion, the best magic systems aren't just tools that are used like swords, but instead they are a reflection of the themes and struggles of the narrative that's being portrayed. They become character traits that these people are forced to grapple with. Now, if we look at something like The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, magic is almost like a science that requires concentration and balance. And And we learn about Quoth's mastery of this art over time, which adds itself as a testament of both his intelligence and also his just relentless drive to prove himself. His journey to learn and wield magic is tied to his personal growth and the unfolding plot. Now, I don't know if we're ever going to get a conclusion to that series, so we won't know how that magic actually impacts that character's journey, but from what we have so far, it's been an interesting development. So when you're designing your magic system, just be sure you understand how the magic interacts with your characters. Does it challenge their morals and force them to make difficult choices? Does it reflect their personalities or their inner conflicts? The more intertwined magic is with your character's arcs and the story's stakes, the more powerful and memorable that magic will be to the reader. So there you have it. Pretty simple stuff. Crafting a magic system isn't that hard. Not that I would know. He wasn't happy about that choice. So with all these tips in mind, I want to know what your favorite magic systems have been from a book, a game, a show, a movie. Drop a comment below and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And what made those magic systems memorable for you? And if you're an indie author working on your next fantasy project, tell us about it in the comments. Let us know about what your magic system is. We want to build a community that is engaging and encouraging others and just serve as a way to interact and support and build off of one another. Be sure to check out my other videos that talk about my indie ranking criteria. I've done one on immersion, which is the world building aspect of things, along with some examples. I've also done one on writing fantasy characters, just not overcomplicating it, keeping it simple. And then we've got 2 more videos to go. Hopefully these videos will give you a better understanding of what I look for personally as I'm reading these fantasy books in order to give me a positive experience and a positive review. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the Indie Fantasy Club and hit the bell for more tips, reviews, and writing advice. Thank you for joining me today in this dungeon, and I will see you in the next video.